Welcome back to Movie Show Plus. Today I'm here with Mr. Paul Glantz himself. Hey, wait a minute. The actual Paul Glantz is here with me today. Paul.
Live and in person.
Live and in person. This is amazing. Well, we're here, of course, we're at Emagine Macomb today.
Yes.
We have the recent news that movie theaters are reopening on October 9th. And I am excited to find out more.
We're delighted to have you, Tom. In fact, what do you say we take a walk through the place and I'll show you what's going on?
That sounds great. Let's do that. So Paul, again, thanks for having me out here. Emagine Macomb. We're right now in the lobby. It's been empty for quite some time.
It has been. It's good to hear human voices in here again.
I was telling you before, this is my first time in a movie theater, like literally. I'm not watching a movie today, but I'll take what I can get.
So will I.
So what can you tell us about what moviegoers can expect? They're hearing a lot of different things. Getting open was only step one. Now there's this, we have to make people feel comfortable, and everybody wants to go to the movie, but people want to feel safe when they go to the movie theater. What can they expect when they come to an Emagine theater?
I think folks can feel like they will be safe here. We've adopted our industry-wide protocols developed by the National Association of Theater Owners. Of course, we had input into it, and it's been signed off on by public health officials. It's called cinemasafe.org. And that's where you can find all those protocols.
Okay.
We're a signatory to cinemasafe.org, so we will be following all those protocols. It includes, foremost among them, social distancing, extra sanitation, spacing out films so that there aren't large crowds in the lobby. And really, the starting point is right here at the box office. A number of our guests were already buying their tickets online or using our smartphone app to begin with. If you want a touch-free experience, go ahead and buy your tickets in advance. We've created social distancing using our software. And the software will essentially block off 2 seats next to unrelated parties. And so there will be 7 feet separating you from any other group, both front and back and side to side. So you won't really be sitting on top of anyone. We've got stickers on the floor to encourage people not to stand too close to one another. So there'll be plenty of social distancing. There'll be a lot of sanitation. There'll be touch-free opportunities, and so we think that early adopters are excited to come back to the movies. Then we think others will follow suit thereafter based on positive word of mouth.
Sure. Less people in the theaters by law right now. Does that kind of turn into more screenings of the same movies to kind of offset that amount?
That's exactly right. We're going to have more screenings of the same film showing on multiple screens so that folks will be able to see that popular film and still not be sitting in too close proximity to their neighbors.
So one of the things that are going to be maybe the most noticeable change from what people are used to coming to the movie theaters is their experience through concession. Why don't you explain to us a little bit, we're here, of course, again at Emagine Macomb, but why don't you explain to us a little bit about how this portion of concessions is going to work for somebody who decides to get food and drink at the theater?
Well, this machine is probably going to be turned off.
Okay.
Because we don't want people standing directly next to each other. And so this machine will be on, this machine will be off.
Okay.
And so you'll have room left and right again. And then if you look at the floor, we've put stickers on the floor to indicate, so if a guest is standing right here at the machine, that the next guest should abide by their privacy and their safety by standing back 6 feet.
Okay, fantastic. Why don't you also describe too, because there's a little bit more different QE system in terms of people even getting to approach some of these machines.
Well, and again, so in this particular venue, we have a popcorn only line, which is right here. Again, we've got stickers on the floor suggesting that folks should remain 6 feet apart. It looks like we've added some additional plexiglass to ensure there's no direct contact with our guests and the guests don't have contact. And then that's on top of the fact that our teammates will already be wearing masks, as will the guests.
Sure.
Right? Guests will be wearing masks, except in the auditoriums when they're enjoying their snacks and drinks.
Some of this, will there be a future of online ordering and people picking up online pickups for concession?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the things we've been working on during the shutdown is enhancing our cell phone app, our smartphone app.
Okay.
And the goal of that redevelopment is to add the opportunity not only to buy your tickets online, but also to choose your food and beverage offerings. And then my goal ultimately for our team is to be able to take that order. We'll know through geofencing when you bring your phone in.
Okay.
That you're here, and then
awesome.
the idea is to deliver your food and beverage right to your seat.
Some of these things coming out of the pandemic, I was reading an article about Disney. A lot of the changes that they've made at Disney, they're kind of like, you know what, these are things that we've been kind of working towards anyways, and this just kind of sped up the process. Do you think that some of these changes to how people get concessions or how they experience movies, do you think they're here to stay?
I do. You know, in candor, the concept of delivering food and beverage to guest seats is not new to us. We've been doing it for a while. But the importance of refining our smartphone app has only been reinforced, and the importance of now being able to offer people a touchless experience by ordering their food and beverage online, I think that's been accelerated, but it was already underway. And so in that respect, we're similar to Disney.
Okay. And that's always good, right?
Yes.
More with Paul Glantz after this. So Paul, I mean, it's been quite an amount of time now that the theaters have been closed. I mean, how are you feeling about this reopening? I know you guys are really busy getting set up, but I mean, you had to have been chomping at the bit.
Absolutely. You know, we've been ready to go since May 21. Of course, we wanted to hold the Juneteenth Film Festival.
Yeah.
That didn't quite work out as we'd intended, though it's going to be held beginning October 16th now.
Okay.
And the part that's candidly been toughest for me is just not being able to serve our guests. It's the inability to bring happiness and joy to folks immersed in the movie-going experience. And honestly, that combined with the fact we had to furlough most of our teammates, those have been really the toughest things for us.
I'm curious as to not only this phase, but where do you see things going from here? What's the next step of the theaters getting back to quote-unquote normal?
I think it's going to take a while to ramp up. I think that there will be early adopters. Then I think there'll be people who are a little less inclined to join us right away. But what I'm convinced of is that the early adopters will believe and enjoy a terrific experience like they have in the past. They'll tell their friends. You're not sitting on top of anybody else. Mm-hmm. It's very clean, it's very safe, and that word of mouth, I think, will spread, and then ultimately I think our business will recover. We also have, just before Thanksgiving, a James Bond film coming out. And so I see James Bond as sort of the ignition source to reignite our business. And so it's going to be a little slow, which is okay. You know, we're going to get our feet underneath us, or our sea legs, and then at some point, and I think it'll be right around Thanksgiving, then we're going to start rocking again.
In terms of the future again, this was a very incredibly hard period of time for theaters to sustain themselves to get to even this point. Now that we're here and we're open at limited capacity, how long can that model exist before movie theaters are in trouble ultimately again? Like, when do we need things to really change?
Well, we need common sense capacity constraints. We can do well with the 2 vacant seats between every unrelated party, but there comes a point when, especially in the 2021 release calendar, there's a lot of product coming, a lot of really good product. And so at that point, I think there will be enough comfort on the part of the consumers that they'll say, yeah, there might be cases in society, but we've also seen where mortality rates are way down, and thank goodness, right? So I think we will come to the point where there are people who continue to have to be protected from this illness.
Well, you mentioned the theaters. Why don't we go take a look inside one of the theaters so people can kind of maybe get an idea and visualize what it might be like inside a theater post-pandemic.
I think it's going to look familiar, but let's go look. So, Tom, what you'll see in the auditorium is we have one-way directional signage where we don't want people necessarily to meet up. And so we're encouraging people to traffic flow in one direction. So you see there's signage on the floors that we've added.
Okay.
Then you'd asked about the social distancing between. So if you'll have a seat there, I'll be happy to sit here. And so this is going to create the two recliners difference. And on Saturday, I took a measuring tape, and I measured from the center of that headrest to the center of this headrest, and it's about 7 feet.
Okay.
We've got 7 feet between rows.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be sitting really in close proximity to anyone you don't know.
Okay.
And so we think that's going to add a substantial element of safety and comfort to our guests.
Now, a family of 5 comes to the theater. They would still be able to purchase 5 seats all in a row, and then there would be 2 gapped to the next family?
Precisely.
Got it. Let's talk a little bit about this too, because some people are concerned with what do you anticipate being the level of enforcement? Do you feel like is it Imagine's responsibility to make sure people are kind of adhering by these guidelines? What would happen?
99.5% of people are going to simply follow the rules. They're going to be fine. If someone is blatantly violating the protocols without justification, then we're probably going to ask them to leave.
Okay.
Here's what I would tell you, though. There are people who have medical conditions that prevent them from wearing a mask. And we are not going to be rude or discourteous to those folks. We're going to be cognizant of their medical condition. And we're going to allow them to, we might try to find them a spot further from others.
Sure.
But we're going to try to accommodate everyone, of course.
Are people being encouraged to, once they're in the theater, kind of stay here in terms of like, if I got to get up, go to the bathroom, or I want to refill a popcorn, I'm still following all of the protocols. I would put my mask on.
Yeah, put your mask on, go follow the directional signage, and come on back.
Okay.
Yeah, just like a restaurant. Put your mask on when you're standing up and when you're walking around, and take it off when you're enjoying your food and beverage.
Paul, what's the main thing, if you had to boil it all down, what's the absolute main thing that you would like to get out to the movie-going audience right now about the theater reopening?
That it's absolutely safe.
Okay.
It's absolutely safe to come back. We believe it's been safe to come back since beginning of June, maybe earlier than that. And now we've got the opportunity to actually demonstrate it to our guests, and we're ecstatic about the opportunity to put in motion what we believe we could execute since late May, early June. First week back, frontline workers are going to enjoy free film. That frontline worker and a immediate family member. So we're giving 2 free tickets to frontline workers for the first week we're open. And then we're at some point here in the not too distant future, we're going to do free family films. We want folks, again, to come back and see tangibly what we've been talking about.
Sure.
Come on back, try it. And I think once you're in the building and you recall what a terrific experience it is to see a film in person, live and on the big screen, then you'll be telling your friends, your neighbors, and life as we know it will return to normal.
What's the one movie you've been looking forward to the most?
I'm looking forward to that James Bond film.
James Bond fan you are?
Yes.
Okay. A big thank you to Paul Glantz from Emagine Entertainment for having me out at Emagine Macomb today. I want to let everybody know that, again, movie theaters in Michigan are opening up on October 9th. There's all kinds of information that you can find, but for the full interview with Paul, where we talk about a whole gamut of things, you can go to movieshowplus.com for the full interview.